We're here to announce a major action against a criminal street gang, actually more than one criminal street gang. And these are street gangs that have committed, and get ready, because I'm not going to talk about the street crime that you hear about with street criminal enterprises like street gangs. We're here to talk about the crimes that street criminal gangs are committing using identity theft and fraud against dozens of, get this, not the person on the street, not the person at the park or at the school, against merchants and their customers, and not in the typical way that you think of going in and physically harassing and intimidating. These street gangs do target and they do intimidate our businesses and our families in order to feed their criminal enterprise. But unlike that, which we're accustomed to, where they usually do this by targeting people on the streets or on Main Street when they go after certain merchants, over the last 3 years, the Northern California law enforcement agencies involved in this particular operation identified a string of burglaries. Again, not attacks directly on people, but a string of burglaries of medical and dental offices, where what was stolen and taken were credit card terminals. Credit card terminals, not cash necessarily or most directly, but credit card terminals. These terminals are used to complete regular sales and to process refunds. Essentially, they're modern-day cash registers, these terminals. In some of these burglaries, not only were the terminals stolen, but the information that those terminals can provide, including patient records, those things were also stolen. I want to just make sure I do clarify that the merchants who did find themselves burglarized did reach out to their patients to notify them of the data breaches involved in this particular set of crimes. Our team at the California Department of Justice collaborated with the Northern California Computer Crimes Task Force and law enforcement agencies across the region and tracked down these stolen terminals. We found that these stolen terminals had been used to process over $1 million in fraudulent returns. Now, that's what we found. We know there's more out there. But in what we found so far, more than $1 million in fraudulent returns. Here's how the scheme worked. The perpetrators used the stolen terminals to process a return. But instead of the value of that return going to the business or perhaps to the customer in a return, that credit was placed on a debit card that was pocketed by the perpetrators. So they were filing for returns under someone else's name and keeping the proceeds of those returns. It's worth noting that some of these debit cards had been opened in the names of patients and other victims whose information had been stolen. Today, I'm pleased to announce the indictment of 32 individuals in this scheme. They are associated with the street gangs Bully Boys and Cocoa Boys. There are 240 charges that we're filing against these individuals. Those charges include 63 counts of conspiracy to commit grand theft, 54 counts of hijacking, computer access, and fraud, 56 counts of grand theft, 59 counts of burglary, 8 counts of identity theft. We've also recovered a mountain of stolen property, 40 credit card terminals, several laptop computers, and patient files. This indictment is just the latest that our office has worked on to combat criminal street gangs. It takes a collaborative effort of multiple state agencies to take down criminal gangs. It is indispensable work if we are to reclaim our neighborhoods for our people. Every day, all of us here must partner with each other. State, local, law enforcement have to come together along with our federal agency partners to take down gang members. and take them off our streets. Just last week in Fresno, we announced a multi-state operation against MS-13 gang members that helped solve more than a dozen murders in the Central Valley. If I can send one perhaps important but crucial message to our merchants, to the business owners of California, let me encourage you to be proactive with data security. I know many of you try very hard, and I know many of you are trying to keep up with all this new technology, especially to help preserve the security and identity of your customers. If your credit card terminals allow you to set up a password, do it. Don't wait. If they don't allow you to set up a password, then take those terminals and lock them up. Don't make it easy for gangs or criminals to think that they can go ahead and steal your business, steal some of your customers' identity, and make financial gain. Remember, it is easier today, and it is more rewarding today to engage in identity theft and financial fraud than it is to go out there in the street and commit physical, violent crime. It pays more at lower risk to do identity theft and financial fraud. We must all work together to combat this.